We're all doing great today. I hope we had a great weekend, and I hope the start of the week has been good too. All right, so let me record the session. Okay. All right, everyone, welcome to today's session. So day 4, I believe we had some time to look at some of the things we did last week. If you were not clear with some of the concept, for those who did the what's it called, the mini project, thank you. It was really nice seeing the I didn't expect a lot of people, that number, actually, to be honest. I didn't expect to do it, and even among those that did it, the score was really high, and I was really impressed by how it turned out. And I understand that perhaps for some people who were not able to do at the stated time because we were probably involved in one thing or the other. I hope you manage to find some time after that to work on the project. It's something that really help you, not just for this classes, but moving forward, because we will talk about it later. Someone was also asking in the group chat about our analyst thing, and I said, really, those questions are kind of like, because I said those questions myself, so they are kind of questions that you would want to ask your data whenever you find data. So you are asking these questions, and okay, we'll talk about that when we get to the later stages. So let me just move on. So today we would continue with our work. So previously we've seen overview of Excel. As you know, we've seen entering values in data. We've seen formulas, references. We've seen a couple of functions. So we'll be rounding up functions today. And if the time permits us, and also if I look at how you're able to grasp what we are going to, the functions we are going to treat, we'll just look briefly on charts, and then tomorrow officially we would continue with pivot table and charts, and then on Wednesday we can have a sample dashboard and presentation. Okay, so we will be looking at VLOOKUP, index, and match today, right? So please check your Discord group, check the Discord learning resources. I already placed the file there. That's the Excel workbook. So please download it and you can follow along the tutorial. By the way, it's impressive to see that some of us have actually attempted the VLOOKUP, because I think the Love channel, at some point I was even thinking we should have like channel of the month, because there are some channels that are really impressive. I think Love is one of them. So if you're in Love channel, you can clap for yourself. So those guys are really, they engage a lot, and they really do a lot of talking on the group, which is impressive. There are other channels too like that. So I encourage us to always make our groups really lively. So some of them already did the VLOOKUPs in the resource that I sent for today, even though I'm going to still show you, but it's really nice to see that people are already like trying to go ahead of the class, which is really good. Okay, so but before we start officially today, I want to make a correction from the last project that we did. I know some of us found the link already on YouTube. Some of us found the link already on YouTube. So, but there was a mistake I made, but I couldn't edit the video. So I just said I was going to show you guys today. So, and this means that some of us, our answers are actually not correct. So if you got 30 before then, I think you might be getting 27. All right, so let's look at it. So if you follow the video, this should not be new to you. If you didn't watch the video, no problem. I believe you know what you did. Maybe that's why you did not watch. But for some of us that watched the video, this is actually what we are asked to do, right? So I talked, please, I recommend you watch the video actually, because I mentioned some things like this filter guy. So I mentioned what it's all about, because I know I've never mentioned it before in your class. So it's, when you watch the video, you see how it's done, and there were some additional things that I also mentioned. Those of us that watch will testify to this. So where I'm actually headed is this place. In our gender, okay, in the marital status, we actually have two options, which is married or single. But for our gender, we have three options. Okay, we have three options. So based on the formula that we did, which is if this is the formula we used. So if J2 is M, say male, otherwise female. So this formula will be wrong in this case because we have other options. So it means if it's not M, it's going to take every other thing as female. So it means F will be regarded as female, NA also will be regarded as female. So if you leave the formula like this, you are going to be getting the wrong answer for female. So let's quickly check that. So on our summary tab, there is mine. So we see that the number of female actually 160. But if we do what we need to do, because now we know there are three options, so we probably need to write another value if false, so because we have more than two different things now to consider. So I'm going to do if, and then I'm going to say J2 is equals to F, just the normal thing you would do, okay? I'm not confusing you. So if J2 is equals to F, then I want you to return female, okay? So when you do this, and I click on enter, accept, and then I try to drag it down. No, previously you will see here, we just have male and female, right? So once I drag it down, you will see now that we have male, female, and false. So these false are those that are like NA there. So if you don't want it to come as false, you could also use something in the formula. So because I did not put any option for my value if false. So if I add a comma here now, for my value if false, so we can see value if false. So I want to say NA again. So I want it to be male, female, and NA. So let's leave it as NA. So instead of false, we'll have NA now. So when I drag it down, I'm going to have female, male, NA. So now if you go back to your summary, you will see that your female is no longer 160, but 156. So if you actually choose 160, you are wrong. Sorry. So I also made the same mistake in the video. So please ensure to check this. And the people who got 156 were the one who complained, and then I took a look at it and I realized that you were right. So if your answer was actually 156, then you are really, really correct. So just take note. That's the first thing I wanted us to touch on before we start today proper. Okay. All right. I hope it's clear. All right. So let's go to today's class. So we're starting with with the VLOOKUP function. So we talked briefly on it last week. So again, I'm going to be sharing with us again what it's all about. So if you look at the definition that we have here, we can see that VLOOKUP looks up a value in a column and can return that value or a value from the corresponding columns using the same row number. Let's stay muted, please. So it means that that's too much grammar. So what it means is that I have like a particular column, right? And I have a value there. So either I want to return that same value or another value that corresponds with that value in that column. Okay, I think I demonstrated with my whiteboard in the last session. So let me just show us again from Excel proper. So for instance, I have this column name, right? And then I have this year 2019. This is like their salary. So if I'm interested in knowing Ken's salary, it means that I want to look up the value, the salary for this guy. Okay. So all it means is you would look for the salary here. How do I know that Ken's salary is 5,500? And that's by comparing it side by side. So this is what that definition meant by corresponding value. So If I need to return Ken alone, I could use VLOOKUP to return only Ken. But if I need to return a value that corresponds, that is in line with this value here, you can also do that. That's what that definition is all about. So, I mean, that's probably a lot of explanation. So let's see how it works with the formula. So here, this is like a salary for different people for different years, right? So 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, okay? So please pay attention. So I'm interested in knowing Ken's salary for 2019. So it means that this is Ken, this is where I'm going to find Ken, and the value that I want to return is in this column. Do you get the idea? So let's see how we can use VLOOKUP to achieve that. So I'm going to write VLOOKUP, okay? I talked a lot about VLOOKUP last week. It's a very, very important function in Excel, at least as far as interview is concerned. So please make sure you know it very well. So lookup value, that's the first option we have. I hope you can, I believe you can see my screen. Okay, if no one can, I would have seen something like
yes,
that.
we can.
All right. So lookup value, that's what are you looking for? What value do you want us to reference? That's what Excel is asking you. So I'm looking for Ken, right? So the table array, I talked about array being, for now, just take it as like a range. Although there's a difference between them, but just take it like a range, right? A table array. So where do you want me to find this Ken, this value that you are looking for? That's what this table array means. So I can select all of this column. You could just select these two alone, since you are interested in this particular 2019. It's also okay to select everything, but let's keep it simple for now. We are still going to extend it. So I'm just going to select these two, since I'm just interested in the value for 2019, okay? So you can see I selected both of them, right? And then the next thing after my comma, I don't know why this is, okay, sorry. Let me move this guy here so that we can have more, we can see it better. Okay, let me write my formula again. VLOOKUP. So I'm looking up this value. And then this is the table array. So the table array is here, this guy. Maybe I minimize my screen a bit. So the next thing is colon index value. So colon index value is like, what out of this array that you have selected, where do you want me to find the value that you are looking for? Okay, so I've already explained that the value you're looking for corresponds with the lookup value. Okay, so if it's, for instance, if you want to return that value itself, which in this case is Ken is found in column number what? Column number 1, right? So I would add 1 here, but I'm not interested in returning Ken itself because it doesn't make sense. What I want to return is the salary for Ken in 2019. And based on this table array that we selected, what number is that column, 2019? 2, because this is 1, this is column 1, this is column 2. You get the idea? So the column index number is like where the value you want to return, where you can find it. So here it is 2. Are you getting it? And then range lookup. So usually you have 2 options, true or false. So I would not do a lot of explanation here, but most times you would want to do false. Okay, so false means exact match. So you want to return the exact, I mean, you want it to find Ken. Anything apart from Ken, don't give me the value. So I just want only Ken. So if you use the approximate match, even if it doesn't find Ken, if it finds something like KE, it can return the value. So that's the meaning of that. But I don't want us to go there because more often than not, like I said, you would be using exact match, which is false. So FALSE. As you can see, we have 2 options. True for approximate match, false for exact match. Sometimes, if you personally, I use 0. So that's also true here is 1, false is 0. So you can use either of them. So you can decide to write false or you can decide to write 0. Anyone you use is going to work. And then I close my VLOOKUP and then I click on enter. So I can see now that I have the salary for Ken in 2019, 5,005. So what I've done is I've looked up the value, the salary of Ken from that particular table array. I hope that is clear. We did that last week. So let me just do another example. So let's assume we are interested for 2020. Oh, someone said no. It's not clear. Okay, let me explain that again, Abby. Okay, so please listen again. So what I want to do is I want to return the salary for Ken. These are salaries, right? So we have different years. So I explained that VLOOKUP, the V there is actually vertical. So you're actually looking at 2 vertical structures. I told you you should go and check about HLOOKUP. That one is more of an horizontal, but it's not within the scope of my lesson with you. So VLOOKUP, you're actually trying to look at a value, look up a value, So the reference to that value has to be given. So just here now, I'm looking for the salary of Ken, right? So how do I know which person's salary to return here? Ken is the reference. So I look for Ken. Where is Ken? Ken is here, and then I trace it. And then I can find the salary for Ken in 2019. That's just everything we are doing. So how do you structure the formula? So VLOOKUP, and then you have the lookup value. Lookup value is your reference, right? Which is Ken. You want to look for Ken. You are looking for the salary for Ken. And then the table array. Where can I, like, it's like, table array is like, which table am I going to find all the details that I need? So this is the table that I selected. You could select everything, but I selected just these two on purpose, just to keep it simple for now. And then column index. So column index is the column that holds the value you want to find. Okay, so not the lookup now, not the value you are looking up, but the value that you want to return, its corresponding value. The corresponding value, like what you need to return. In this case, is salary. So salary for 2019. So where can we, in the table that we selected, what is the column number? So this is column number 1, and then this is column number 2. So it means my column index number is going to be 2. Okay, and then the range lookup. I told you, just maybe you should forget the explanation that I made. For now, just know that you'll be using false. Okay, if you don't understand the explanation I did about it, no problem. It's okay. So just know that anytime you use false or you use number 0, anyone works. And then you click on enter. So you get your answer. So as you can see, you have here 5,500, which is the salary for Ken. If I change this Ken now to Jane. So what Excel will do is that it's going to look for Jane, right? So this is Jane. And then it's going to look for the value that corresponds, that's the salary that corresponds to Jane. So once I click on enter, I expect the salary to change from 5,005 to 4,000. And that's it. So that's how you use the VLOOKUP. It's so simple. That's it. So now let's assume I'm interested in 2021. Okay. So if I'm interested in 2021, and I just, well, we did not even use this reference at all. So even if I change this one, nothing's going to happen. So we have to change that in our formula. Okay. So now there are a couple of things we will change in our formula. The first one is the range. Because this range that we selected, it only covers from name to 2019. So now that I want to find for 2021, it means that I have to make sure that my range, my table range, includes what I'm looking for. So I'm going to probably, you can cancel this. I already taught you this one before, or you can just try to extend the range here. Okay. So I extend the range. Now you can see I'm selecting everything, right? So now what will now be my column index number? Will it still be 2, class? No, it can't be 2 because I'm looking for the salary for 2021. So who can tell me what will be the column index number if I am looking for the salary of Jane in 2021? What will be the column index number?
Oh, 4.
That's 4.
We can type. Thank you. You can type it. Thank you, guys. So 4. So once I use that, you can see now that I have for Jane in 2021 is 4. Very simple, right? So that's literally what VLOOKUP is all about. Okay. So let's go forward. So let's go to something you're already familiar with, which is the result. I initially wanted to say that you guys should use your own, the one you did, but I just believe maybe some people have not even done the stuff yet. So I just copied mine, so it's fine. So if you did the project, this is actually the result you would have. And then, as you can see, we are calculating the CGPA or GPA of students based on their result. So now this is like for all the subjects that they are doing, but let's assume that I'm just the mathematics teacher and I feel like this is a whole lot for me because I'm having to like look at a lot of things here. So I just want to get the mathematics result, right, for the students, just their mathematics result, nothing more. So I can actually have a new sheet here, and then I can try to like transfer that value. So look up that value. if I want to do it like manually, what am I going to do? I will come to result. I will come here to James, and then I will look for his mathematics result. So his mathematics result is what? What did this score in mathematics for James? James scored 72. So I will come here. I will type 72. Is it not? As a human now, manual work, I will look for Bina, and then I will trace it. Is that not what you're doing? Tracing it. So you come here again, you write 78. Now, which is good, right? But if you have like a lot, you don't want to do that, right? So that's where VLOOKUP comes in very handy. So based on the logic that we explained here, you are just literally looking at a reference. So it could be James, it could be anybody, and then you are tracing it to the column that you need. So in this case, it was their salary, but here it's their result. Okay, so let's see how that can be used here. Instead of having to do it manually, let's see how we can fetch their mathematics result from that sheet without copying it one by one. So again, I'm going to start with the VLOOKUP formula. Okay, now what is the value I'm looking for? James. Okay, so what is the table array? Where can I find this? I mean, the whole data that I'm dealing with is in the other sheet. So I'm going to the other sheet. By now, you should know how to reference other sheets, right? We already did a project on that, so I believe everyone knows that. So, and one of the things you will notice is when you are referencing from another sheet, Excel is going to put the name of that sheet first. I'm sure many of you have noticed, right? So now if you check my formula, you can see it has written result. So that tells me that what I'm about to take is from the results tab, not from the tab I'm working on. So you should have noticed that by now. So this is what I want. So I'm going to select all of these guys, everything. Let's just select everything once and for all. Okay. And then that's my range. Okay. And then I click on comma. So once I click on comma, I can go back to my mathematics. I'm going to remove this, or you could leave it. So because now it's telling me that I'm in mathematics tab. And of course, this is mathematics tab. So probably there's no point to leave it there. But if you remove this result here, it will be wrong because you are telling, once you remove this result, you are telling Excel that this A2 and E8 is in this sheet. And that's not the case, right? So I don't forget, anytime you see something like this, it tells you that this particular range or whatever you are selecting is coming from results sheet. So you don't want to tamper with this. I removed mathematics because we are already in mathematics sheet, so there's no point. But if you leave it, it will still work. So the colon index number. So let's go back again. So if you check here, based on this range that we selected, what is mathematics? What is the colon number for mathematics class? This is 1. This is what? 2, right? So for mathematics is what? Is 2. So again, you can see every time I go back and forth, it's bringing the sheet name. So I'm going to cancel it. So the colon number is 2 for mathematics, and the range lookup is 0. Now I want to use 0 instead of false, just to show you that they are all the same thing. And I click on enter. So you can see now that James' result is what? 72, which is exactly what we have. So if you drag this down, you will see that you got the result for everything, right? So Bama is 50, and this is the score here, 50. Frederick is 89, his mathematics score, Frederick here is 89. Okay, I believe that is clear. Now, why that looks correct, it is actually wrong. I mean, it's correct, but that formula is wrong. Maybe someone is already thinking the way I'm thinking, but in order that you may understand and you may believe that it is actually wrong, let us try for English. So now I want you guys to try English by yourself. So I will give 3 minutes very quickly. Get the result for all the students. Go to the English sheet, open your workbook, go to the English sheet, and then find the result for this student based on the VLOOKUP that we just explained. So 3 minutes, and let's go. I'm waiting. If you are done, just let me know. And you will tell me the result for James, the answer for James. I need the answer for James. Okay, anybody?
I got 95.
You got 95.
Okay, I got NA.
Wait, please mute and just put the message on the chat. Or you can just raise up your hand. So I'm going to call you. So you can just raise up your hand. So I'll call you. All right. So Mr. Olawale, please go ahead.
I got NE.
You got NA.
Yeah.
Is that not the result? Is that not the score of
Yeah, that was the result. But I got NA. I got results for Lydia, Kali, Frederick, and Denver.
But you did not get for James.
Yes, and Bina. I didn't get results for the two of them.
Why? Why is that? What do you think is the problem?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Can you think about it?
I will think about it. I will think about it and give a response.
And check each of the columns, check each of the cells, check those ones that are correct, check those ones that are wrong, and try to find out what you think the issue is. Okay, I have two other hands raised up. So let's take, I don't want to take James yet. I feel like not, I want to see, let me read other people's. Okay, same here. Someone said he got 95. So Mr. Imo Uchena, would you like to share with us how you got 95? Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Good evening. Yeah. So I actually got the results the last person that spoke got, but I did something to fix that.
What did you do to fix that?
So I fixed the range in the first cell before I copied down the formula.
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, thank you for sharing. I know, I'm glad that I even thought of that example, because I know many people would just think this is working and it's fine. So like I said, this formula, even though we got the answer, it's actually wrong. I mean, not the formula itself, but the way we wrote it is actually wrong. And that was why I had to, like, if you check, the order of the students is different here, and that's why we are getting something different. So let me explain what is going on. Please pay attention. So if you check your formula here, you will see that your range is actually A2 to E8, which makes sense. But when you check for Bina, you will see that your formula, your range has shifted from A2 to what? A3 to A9. If you check for Lydia, you will see that your range has shifted to A4 to A10. So it means that as we scroll down, our range is changing from here to here to here to here. We cannot see it directly now like we used to, because we are not on the same sheet. You know, we cannot really see it. So that's why I'm showing you. And I'm glad that we already did it before, so you understand what it means when a range is shifting. So that's why that result did not work. So in this case, the first case for mathematics, the reason it worked is because when I'm here for the first one, it's going to find James, right? Now it's going to shift this way for the second one. It's still going to find Bina. It's going to shift here for the third one. It's still going to find Lydia. It's going to shift here for the fifth one. It's still going to find Frederick. It's going to shift here for the sixth one. It's going to find Tammy. And then for the last one, it's going to shift here. It's still going to find Dembaba. That's why that first one worked, the mathematics. So when I scattered it and I brought James here. Are you following now? When I brought James here, you know, James is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth one. So by the time it was doing James, this guy had shifted to this point. So this is what it is seen as a range. Are you getting it? Now, is James here? No. Do you get the idea now? So you already know what the problem is and how do we fix it? You lock the cell, that's all. So here, when I'm writing the formula, this range, all I need to do is to what? Is to lock it. And you already know that by now. So once I lock it, I fix it. I don't want that range to change. And then I drag this. This is not going to, of course, alter the result. But for the English now, if I write the same, okay, let me now do my own. So when I do VLOOKUP, maybe some of us that don't have computer, maybe we are not practicing now. You might not understand what they mean by you are getting any. So let me show you. So this is the array here. So the array, this is it, right? And then I do my, what's the next thing now? Colon index value. So we are doing for English, right? So that is 3, right? And then index is 0, right? And I click on enter. So I got 77. And then when I drag down, all this is correct until this point. So now you understand why we did not get for James. So in order to solve that issue, all I need to do is to lock this guy so that it will not move. So once I lock it, and then I can drag down, you'll find out that our value will be intact because that range is not shifting. So anywhere it is still going to find James. Anywhere it is going to find Bina. I hope that is clear. I hope you understand. So it's still about referencing. So you can see how important the referencing is and why you should pay attention. It's very important to pay attention to your reference a lot because sometimes since we work, you will feel like it's working, but it's when you probably congest them and then maybe you make some changes and then you just see that everything is broken. Like, this thing was working before. Yeah, it was working because it was just like put on the edge. But once you find a way to scatter things and you want to bring it back, then the problem occurs. So please always pay attention to your range. Don't just be tempted that, I've gotten what I'm looking for, then I'm going. No, check your range. Once you drag down, once you feel, try to see, is it still the range that I'm expecting it to select? Do you understand? So you said you did not lock yours and it gave the actual result. No, it's not possible. Make sure you are doing for English, not mathematics. English, it is English. It will never work if you don't lock yourself, if you don't lock your result. No, I don't agree. So Mr. Ikechukwu, make sure you are doing for English, not for mathematics. Say he's doing for both. No, I don't agree that it will work. I don't. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but I don't agree. Okay, yeah, you can snap it. So snap it, put it on Discord and let's see on your chat. So let's continue. So the same logic would apply for GPA. So I want you guys to try this now. Again, just for you to master what you have learned. So let me see what you guys are going to do. So here, go to your results. I'm going to give 5 minutes break now for you to do this. So get this GPA for these guys. And where is the GPA? The GPA is somewhere here. So you can see it, right? So let me see if you guys are able to do it. So I mean, it's very easy. So, but you just need to get the GPA for each of these students. So 5 minutes to try it, and then we'll be back. If you have any question in between, please ask, and then I will answer. Thank you.
I beg your pardon on the instruction.
Huh?
I beg your pardon on the instruction. What are we doing with the GPA?
Find the GPA for the students.
All right, thank you.
Using the GPA sheet here, find the GPA for James. So GPA for James now is 4 point what? Using like the GPA for James is 4.31. So just return their GPA here using this column. You understand?
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so if you actually rearrange the name the way it is in the original sheet, you get the answer. So that was why I scattered the names. So if that was what you did, Mr. Ikechukwu, if you actually rearrange the name, you are going to get the right answer, which I just showed, which was the first example with mathematics. But the idea is not for you to arrange the name because it's not all the time you have to arrange the name. If you get the name in a scattered way, you just need to still get the same result. So thank you, Mr. Jackson, for answering him. yes, we've talked about naming the range. That's actually the best thing. You know, we talked about, I think that was in second class, right? Or the first. So it's good to name your range. If you know you'll be using it a lot, you know, you can just name it and call it. So that's going to keep it valid. So that's a better option, Mr. Emmanuel. I hope we all still remember how to name our range and cell. Done. Okay, thank you. I hope we all done. Thank you. This question that I saw now is fine. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. Oh, interesting. Okay, so let me take, if you know you would like to talk, to share what you did, your formula, please raise up your hand. Let me call someone. You would like to share your formula with us, what you did. Okay, if you're yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I did the normal VLOOKUP, but then I had to count the columns. A to Z is 26, and I had to start counting A, B, A, C, A, D. That's how I arrived at 32. But then I don't know if there's a way to now go about it. What if I have a longer column index number, and then I don't have all the time to start counting and counting?
Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Ifelua. Yeah, so I'm glad that you guys are already thinking like an analyst, because of course, I know that was stressful. Going down, having to count 32 is stressful. So imagine you even have more than that. So it will help us to probably grasp the next concept that we'll be doing. Okay, so let's just do let's just do this for those who are not probably don't have opportunity to use their computer right now. So let's do VLOOKUP. Okay, so my lookup value is James, and then my table array is this is my table array. So pretty long. So I have to like select everything from here down. And then you have to go like, how many of us went like this? How many people went like this using your mouse? How many people did that? Okay. So what did you do? Well, I think I showed you about Control Shift, down, up, and all of that. Oh, someone said you did. You forgot the shortcut of going like this? Okay. Anyways, just to get it done. So it's not a problem. So now I'm here. Okay. That's my range. And then the column index value. So you have to count what is the column number for this among all the things that you did. So I'm glad that some of you already counted. So, and you said it's 32, right? So we know it's 32. So you can confirm when you are doing yours. So you have to actually use column 32. And then the range is 0, as you know. So once you do that, you will get value for James, which is 4 point. Please, let's stay muted. So you get the value for James, which is actually 4.30 whatever. But here it's actually 4.3 because we rounded to two decimal place, right? If you remember in your project, right? So we have to round up to 2 decimal place. So once I drag this down, again, it's going to work. But don't forget, this is wrong because I did not lock my range. So I expect this range to keep shifting, you know. So of course you will not know now because this is not scattered. So just to be on the safer side in case they have to change things. So I'm going to lock this guy. And then I can have this guy rounded down to 2 decimal place to make it consistent with what we have here, and then I can drag this down to this. Okay, so we have exactly the same thing. So if you did that and you got the answer, good. Okay, and if you couldn't, if you didn't, I hope you can see how to do it. Now, there's a problem. We have been able to solve the problem of looking up value from a sheet to another, but there's now another problem, right? Just like Mr. Ifoluwa said, we have a very long table, a wide table. It's called a wide table. So it means a lot of columns. And look at the way we started counting. I mean, this is not ideal. This doesn't even make sense. So imagine someone just tells, okay, I'm not interested in the GPA. I'm interested in like the graduate point, which is like probably something here, this one. So it means you have to start counting again. So, I mean, that doesn't even make sense. So there's a better way to do this. And that's what we are going to be doing now. So please pay attention. So first, I want to show you a concept called index function. Okay. So if you go to my presentation, I don't know, my computer seems to be acting up somehow. I hope it's not affecting the delivery of the presentation. But yeah, if you check the slide, we actually have the index function. And again, this is also another important concept that you'd be asked in interviews, I can assure you. So you need to know these things. You need to master them. You're not just knowing them. As I've heard it before, you need to know what they do. So index function returns a specific value in a one-dimensional range. So just ignore this in a one-dimensional whatever. But just remember that index returns a specific value. How many of us have heard of the word index before? You know, index is like a position, right? So when you say index, what is the index of? So you talk about position. So index return, okay, someone's saying something, you know. So index returns the value. So it means that it's a way of like supplying the index, and then it returns the value that occupies that index. Okay. So, and a use case could be this. So let's go to our Excel sheet. So here now, if I look at my rows, I want to make use of these rows as an example. So you could call these rows index. They're actually indexed, right? So this is row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7, row 8, row 9. So if I tell you, guys, what is the value occupying row? What is the name occupying row 6? You're going to tell me what? Kelly, right? So which is like similar to VLOOKUP. So because you actually looked up 6 and then you look for the name, right? So it's still like you are still looking up. So that's basically what index does. So index, you supply a particular value and then it returns. You supply a position and then it returns the value that position position occupies. Yeah, that's a lot of talking. So let's see what's actually happening in real life. Let's take it there. Okay, so let's see how the index function works. So I'm going to double click here, and then I'm going to type my index equals to index. So look at the definition. It says that returns a value or reference of the cell at the intersection of a particular row and column in a given range. So let's see how that works. So here, when I click on index, you can see that I have like variety. I have like 2 types. So let's assume that we are using this first one. Just ignore the second one, okay? So here, index takes in an array, which is like a table array, what we did earlier, and then it takes in a row number. Okay, row underscore number, and then optional now is a column number. So let's see how all of this work out together. So if I want to return, so guys, please pay attention. I want to return the name. Are you following? The name that occupies position 5. Okay. So let's see how I'm going to do that. So my array here, I'm going to select name because I'm just interested in name. Okay, so this is the array I'm selecting, comma. Now, row number, I want to return the value. I don't know that value, but I just want the value that occupies row number 5. So what Excel is going to do is going to start counting from here, from the beginning. So it's going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if my row number is 5, I expect this formula to return Jane. So let me click on enter, and then you can see that we have Jane. So let me explain what's happening again. If you go to our function, the first thing it's asking for is array. which is what we have selected. Here it is one-dimensional array. Okay. So now the next thing is asking for is a column, is a row number. Sorry about my R factor, but yeah, row number, right? So based on what I've selected, now it's going to start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it returns 5. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If I did not include name in my selection, that's the header name, I just selected the true names, and I want to return the fifth value, it's going to change now to Sammy. Because now when you count from here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just similar to column number 2, right? So, but now it's just counting based on row. You get the idea? So what I want you to pick up from here is that the index function takes in the position and then returns the value that occupies that position in a range. That's all. Okay. So if you now want to go a bit, if you want to go like two-dimensional now, let's see how this goes two-dimensional. So again, still the same logic of VLOOKUP, because index can actually do the same thing as VLOOKUP. Okay, so let's see how that works here. So let's assume that I want to return, so I'm going to delete this Sammy. So I'm coming back here to our Ken. This is our usual example. So let's assume I want to return Ken for 2019. Are you listening? So Ken for 2019. So let me show you how you're going to do that using that same index. So please pay attention. Index. So now array, my array, because now I want 2019 value. So my array cannot just be this one. So my array is going to be all of these guys. Are you following? Comma. Now, what is my row number? So I have to start counting, similar to what we did in that VLOOKUP problem that we had. We have to start counting and look for where Ken is in the row, right? So Ken is where now? Based on what we highlighted now, I'm not highlighting from here, I'm highlighting from the name. So please pay attention to that. So this is 1, this is 2. So Ken can be found in row number 2. So my row number is 2. And then now, because we are not just dealing with it, you know, the first example, we're just dealing with this guy, just this one column. So there was no need to have column number because we were just dealing with one column. But now we are dealing with more than one column. So this column number that we didn't use initially, we need to use it now because now we are dealing with more than one column. Are you getting the point? So, and the column that we need to put here depends on what we are looking for. So if we are looking for 2019, what is going to be the column number for 2019? Class, we already did this before. What is it going to be? 1, 2, right? So we are looking for column number 2. That's the column number, and I click on enter. So once we do that, we can see that we got the same result as VLOOKUP. So you might now be curious, what is now the difference? Which one is this one? So maybe I'll give you that as an assignment or to go and read and find the difference between them. One is actually faster than the other and all of those things. But the point here in this class is for you to understand these things. Okay, so now let's review it again. Let's look at it together again. So we thought that index is used to return a value that occupies a position. You get that concept, that first explanation? So I said that we want to return this, we want to find the salary for Ken in 2019. So, you know, in the beginning of our Excel class, we said that a cell is an intersection of row and column. We said that from the beginning of the class. Do you remember? So if you check your index function, please let's stay muted, please. If you check your index function, if you check the definition, it says returns a value or reference of a cell at the intersection of a particular row and column. So it's still like we are repeating the same thing. Do you understand? So before you can find a cell, the value that occupies a cell, you need to find the column, you need to find the row, and then you can use that to locate that value that occupies that cell. So that's the idea. So in this case, the first example that we did, it was just one dimension, like one column. So it was just one column. So there was no need to have to use the column number in the formula. But now we have more than one column. So these are other columns that are included. So for us to get this particular value here, we need both a column reference and a row reference. Are you getting it? So that's what we are going to supply to our index. So our array is this, everything here. And then our row number, because we know it is Ken, so all we have to do is count, just like we knew that we were looking for GPA earlier and we counted 32. So here we're also counting to Ken, which is this guy, which is 2. And then because we know it's 2019, we're also counting 1, 2. So this is 2019, and then we get our answer. So what if I'm interested in knowing the salary for Kate in 2021? So it means that I have to come here again for Kate in 2021. So I'm going to come here. Okay, let me just copy this very quickly. Sorry, and paste it here. And here I'm going to say, because I don't want to confuse you guys, 2021. And here I'm going to say Kane. Let me use Jane. Jane. Okay. So I'm interested in Jane. You can see this guy has shifted, so just ignore it. So I'm interested in Jane for 2021. So let's do it together. I will be saying it, but I hope that you're also knowing what I'm going to pick. So my array is going to be what? This guy, right? This is my array. Okay. Now, what is going to be my row number, class? Okay, let me allow you to try. Just put it on the chart. What's going to be the row number for Jane? Row number for Jane. Please put it on the chart. Nobody?
5.
5. Are you sure it's 5? Well, we will find out.
Yeah, 5 and 4.
What you told me that I'm putting. So what's going to be the column number?
4.
4. Is it 4?
Yeah, for 2021.
Okay, let me put it down.
5. Since you are highlighting from the name, it will be 5.
Okay, yeah, I got it. So Jane, is that the answer? Yes. So you guys are correct. So how did you know? So you counted for the row number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the row number. And the column number 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the answer. Okay. So let's stop. Let me leave it there for now. We'll come back. But you would see that the same problem we talked about, VLOOKUP, is still existing here. Because it means that anytime we need something, we have to start counting. So let's assume we have 200 names now. And the name that I'm looking for is in number 198. So I have to start scanning from number 1 and look for where that name is. So you see that we've not solved the problem of locating, and that's what we want to solve. But I've not shown you anything that will solve it. So let's go to the next function. So the next function is called match. Okay. So if we check definition, it says the match returns the position of a value. So this is like opposite of index. You know, index returns what? The value that occupies a position. But match returns the position that a value occupies. So please don't forget these definitions. They are very important. So in an interview, when they ask you, in fact, they will ask you if you are going for any analyst interview that is Excel is expected, they will ask you, what's the difference between, can you explain index and match for us? Yes. So index returns the value that occupies the position, while match returns the position that a value occupies. Okay, I hope you understand that. So let's see how that works. So this is a sample that I used here. So now, you know what we were doing earlier, that we're trying to find where 10 is, and we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see whether this match can help us. Since match returns the position that a particular number occupies. You know, when we are counting 1, 2, 3, that's the position, right? So let's see if this match can help us return the position that that value occupies. So for 10, I'm going to be saying equals to match. Okay, so you can see the definition. Returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value. Okay, so let's see what we need. So we need the lookup value. So what am I looking up for? I'm looking up for 10. Where am I looking up for? Where am I looking up 10? I'm looking up 10 in this array, right? And then optional. Now you could decide to leave it or not, but I think the default is false. But it's still the same thing we were talking about earlier, match type, which is either false or exact. Okay, so we have one more option here. So we have less than, greater than. So here, just the same thing, exact match. So you can see exact match is what? 0. So I'm just going to choose 0 here, which you already know this by now. So and then I'm going to click on enter. So you would see that he's able to tell me that Ken is occupying position what? Position 2, which is true because 1, 2. So if I change this now to, let's say, Sammy, I saw someone comment on YouTube that I should do Sammy. Maybe that's his name, I don't know. But Sammy, we got 6. So let's confirm that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's even dynamic because if I change the reference, so let's assume I don't want to include name, I expect now that Sammy is going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if it's going to update. Yes, Sammy is now 5. So you can see what match does. So match returns position. Index returns the value that occupies a position. So let's see another example very quickly, match 2. And then we'll take a break. So I'll allow us to rest for 5 minutes and then we'll come back. So this is another example for match 2. And in this case, we want to see what position. Now you can see this one is more of a vertical structure. So what I'm trying to show you here is that match works for both vertical and horizontal structure. Okay, so whether it is vertical, whether it's horizontal, it's still going to work. So this is vertical. So let's see if it's going to work for horizontal. It means when you have an array that's horizontal. So let's assume I'm looking for the position that 2019 occupies here. Before we do it, what is the position it occupies? Please put it on the chart. What is the position it occupies, class? 2019 in this array. What is the position it occupies? Someone said 3.
1.
Who said 3?
1.
Who was that? Who said 3? Convince us that it's 3. Or was it a mistake? Okay, I will assume it's a mistake since a lot of people are saying it's 1. Okay, so it's actually 1. But let's confirm with match function. So we have match and then lookup value. We are looking for this guy. And then where are we looking for it? We are looking for it in this array. Right? Okay, it was a mistake. It has to be a mistake. And then the match type is 0, as you already know. So when I click on it, you can see that indeed we got 1. So if I want to find for 2022, I expect to get what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get 4. So now, if you were me, or if anyone is already thinking, we kind of found a solution to our problem, right? So it means that if we have a function that can help us find the position of a particular value, why do we have to start counting? Are you with me? Okay, let's come back. So when we return, we'll see how we can use index match together to optimize the work and also like to improve VLOOKUP. So we'll see that in 5 minutes. I will not be taking questions in 5 minutes. I want us to rest because I know it's really a lot already. So please just find some coffee or just relax 5 minutes and then we will be back. Thank you. All right, everyone. Welcome back. So I hope we had nice rest. So just a quick recap of what we've been doing so far. We started with VLOOKUP, and we saw how we could use VLOOKUP to, find a particular value, either in the same sheet or in different sheet. And then we used it to get for mathematics. We saw issue with referencing that was resolved, or that was detected when we did for English because of the unordered list of names. And then we resolved it by fixing the reference. And then we calculated the GPA, which reviewed another problem, or issue with having wide or long table, having to get the number, the position of a particular column or row, as the case may be. So in a bid to resolve that, we started looking at another concept, talking of index, and we explained that index is used to find the value that occupies a position. So it means that for you to use index function, you will need to know the position that a particular value occupies. So either the row number or the column number, depending on if you are looking for both. If it's just a single array, you don't need the column number because it's just one column. But if you are looking at it wide like this, then you will need both the column reference and the row reference and the column reference to get the value. So that's how the index works. And then we looked at match. So match, we said is opposite of index, such that E returns the position. Okay, so when we were doing index, we had to manually count the position that the value we are looking for occupies. So when we count the rows, okay, this is row number 5. We also count the column, this is column number 3, and all of that. So we said this is very stressful, similar to the issue we had with VLOOKUP, because if you have a lot of names, you have to start counting for the position, right? So which doesn't make sense. So that takes us to match, and match seemed to be the round peg in the round hole now, because match is able to help us detect the position of a particular value, irrespective of where it is, either in a row or whether vertical or horizontal, either row or column. It's able to tell us the position that it occupies. And we saw the first example here. We are trying to look for Sammy in this range, right? So in previous examples, we would have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But with a match function, it's if we are selecting all of these 6, if we are selecting just these 5. So, but with match function, we are able to detect that it is position 5 without having to count. And same thing here, whether in this direction, that's horizontal, it's also able to help us detect the position that a particular value occupies. So, like I said, it's the round peg in the round hole because it's going to be like the deal icebreaker, the guy that helps us seal the deal. So if the issue we're having with index now was positioning, detecting position. So if we find a function that is able to help us detect the position dynamically, I think it's going to really help us bring the best out of our index, right? So, and that takes us to index match function. So let's use these two together to see how we can get the same result, but now it will bring ease, right? Because all through our work so far, you would notice that we are always talking of efficiency. It's not about just doing the work, but you have to be more productive. You have to spend less time, less energy, and all of that. So let's see how it works. So let me first go with the first method that we did. So the first method, how do I do this now? Let me call this first method. Oops, sorry. Just to give a recap again, in case you did not understand. So first method was to use index and then our array. This is our array, right? And then our row number is, so I'm looking for 10, right? So we'll count 1, 2. Our row number is 2. Our column number is for 2019. So let's do for 2020. So this is 1, 2, 3. So our column number is going to be 20. 3, and that's like, so let me change this one to 2020. So we already know that by now. That's our first method. Okay, so let me put this a red. Let me give it a red because it's a dangerous method. It's going to really waste our time. So red. So let's try the second method now. Okay. So with the second method, again, same thing. We are trying to get the same thing. So I will just copy this here. Okay, I'm going to delete this. So now we will do index of array, the same thing. Okay. Now our row number is, like we already said, 1, 2 is 2, and then our column number is 1, 2, 3, 3. Now I will leave it here for now. So let's see, can we get this value, the position that Ken is occupying in this range separately, based on what we already did with match? Let's see. So I'm going to write it here, and I'm going to do, can someone tell me, I want to get Ken in this array now, in this place. I want to get Ken. Can someone tell me the formula? Just unmute. No, raise up your hand. I will call you using match function. Tell me what I need to type, and then I will type it. Anybody, anyone that is confident? Don't let me use that to scales. Anyone who wants to give it a try? Okay. No, apart, I want another person.
Okay.
Victoria. Sorry, James. It's like the second time I'm saying I want another person because I know you're quite ahead of the class. That's why. So I want, I want especially just.
I don't have an issue. I'm good.
All right, Victoria.
All right. Equals match. Then you highlight from the name.
It's asking for lookup value.
Okay. That'll be lookup value is the Ken, right?
Good.
Yeah.
So I'll select Ken. Then now what's
Ken
the lookup?
is the lookup value.
Yeah, what's the
Can you
lookup?
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I chose Ken already. H6. I chose it from here.
Okay,
So
the lookup. Okay,
array?
the lookup array is from the name down to truth.
To choose.
The
Good.
name down to truth.
So match type is what?
Yes. Then we have the match type as 0.
0.
0.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So thank you, Victoria. So we can see that the same 2 that we used here can be generated using this value, using this function, right? So, and the same idea of having to nest functions inside of function. We saw it with substitute and with left and search and all of that, how we're able to put functions inside of functions. So we are going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm just going to copy this formula here so as not to waste time. Okay. So here, wherever I see 2, which represent the row number, this function can help us to get it dynamically. Of course, I'm going to take off this equals to. So it means that Excel is going to solve this function first, which will always return 2 for Ken, and then it will sort it out. So you can see that we still have the same answer. To see how, you might be wondering, then what's the point? By now, you should know that this has added some dynamism to our function. Because now, if I need the value, what's going on? Sorry. Because now, if I need the salary for Sammy in 2022, I don't need to just like start counting. Oops, sorry. My computer is really acting up today. I'm sorry about that. Okay. All right. So if I need for Sammy, I don't need to necessarily start counting where Sammy is, because that match is going to sort it out for me. So anytime I put Sammy, it knows where Sammy is, and then this match formula now will by itself. I don't know what the position is, but this match will help me automatically calculate the position, and then it's going to return the value, which is 6, and then it's going to supply it, and then Excel can do the rest. Do you get the idea? So this is like half solution, right? Because we were able to solve for name. So what if I'm not interested in 2020 and I want something like 2022? Nothing has changed. So it means still for 2022, I have to always come here and check what is the reference. So if I want for 2022 now, I have to change this one to what? To 4 to get the value for 2022. So we solve the problem just a bit, but not fully. Oh, for 2022 will not be 4. It's going to be what, guys? Is it 4? No, not 4. It's going to be what? 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
You people are not with me again, no? So it's going to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you can see that we are still having similar. I mean, we solved one side, which is this side, but we need to also solve this side. But then things that match can work both this direction and also this direction. That was why I showed you those examples. So we can do the same thing. We can use match to find the position that the year occupies, and then do exactly the same thing. So let's give it a try together. So I want to find for 2022 now. I'm going to come here. So who wants to try? Who wants to help us? Anybody? Just raise up your hand and then I'll call you. Anyone?
Can I try?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. So we're going to match.
Match.
It's then you select Ken. We are finding for Ken, right?
No,
no,
not Ken. I'm looking for the year now. I'm dealing with the year, not the name. This is for the year. So I'm looking for the position that 2022 occupies in this range.
Okay, E3.
What's E3? E3.
Okay,
Okay,
value E.
what you want me to
Yes.
pick? Okay. I can pick here.
E3.
Right, so I want to pick this one.
Okay, that is what, I5.
So the lookup array is what?
From E3 to E9.
E3 to E9. No.
No?
It can't be this. Because
E3 to E9.
don't interrupt. So
Probably we select all from name to 6,000.
No, when don't worry, just listen. Just stay unmuted. We are talking, we are interacting. Stay unmuted. So when we wanted to do for Sammy, for the names, we checked them where we would find the names, right? So for the year, where am I going to find the this is where I'm
horizontal B to E.
Yeah, exactly. So you could also start from here, since all our array is this, but you could also start from here, but it depends on you. But know that when you are starting from here, now if you are dealing with 2019, the position is what? Is 2. But if you are starting from here, your 2019 will be 1. So it doesn't matter. But just know where you're starting from. So you want to give it a try now, right?
Sure.
March.
March. I5.
The lookup array.
B3 to E3.
Okay, good. And then the match type.
Yes.
The match type is what?
1, 2, 3, 4.
The match type.
Oh.
No, match type. We've been talking about it a lot. So so far we use just 0 as the match type, which is like 4.
False. Sorry, false.
Which is 0. So
but mine usually comes automatically. Why isn't yours coming automatically to bring in the false and the true? Like that. Without putting the 0 or the 1. When I put comma, it automatically brings in those options. I'm just surprised that yours doesn't.
Let's say that you have an advanced Excel than mine then.
Okay.
So make sure you always put that. I mean, it's optional though, but I mean, I just want us to get used to some things so that in a case where you need to change it, we are not doing that in this class, but you would know that this is actually just okay. So yeah, that works. So thank you so much. So you can stay muted now. Thank you. So based on that, I hope everyone also agree with this formula. We can see now that based on this selection, the position for 2022 is actually 4. And that's exactly what Excel calculated for us. So it means that instead of having to in our formula, we used 5. And the reason we used 5 in our formula is because we selected from here. So what I'm going to do now is just not to cause confusion. Let me select from A3. Okay, so that no one will be confused here. I want it to be unique. But if I'm doing this on my own, I know it's still going to be correct anyway. So I'm going to choose this and then we can see 5. So instead of having 5 here, changing it, because now if I need for 2022, it means I have to count 1, 2, 3 and change this to 3. I can substitute with this same formula now, and then that will generate for me the position of my year. So I'm just going to copy this very quickly, and then I will come here, and then I can remove this 5 and replace with this function for match. So this match, once it computes it, is going to get 5 for 2022, and then the result is still going to be the same. So it means now that if I change this from 2022 to 2019, I expect Excel to change this to 7,000. So once I click on enter, you can see we have 7,000, because now it's going to look for the position of 2019 by itself, and then it's going to find the answer. So this solves the problem with the VLOOKUP. I mean, so that's why before VLOOKUP actually went, because I think we had that conversation last week. So there's another one called XLOOKUP. So that's even more preferred now than either VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. But I don't want to talk about it in this class. But back then, index match took out VLOOKUP. Number one is speed. I think it was faster than it, and also there were additional stuff. So I want you to read up on it. You can learn. That's a way to learn. So read about VLOOKUP versus index match. So, but as you can see, index match does exactly what like VLOOKUP is used for, and even better because it adds more dynamism, right? So let's go back very quickly to the issue with the GPA that we solved, and let's see if we can use index match to get this result. We talked about it being like helping us to solve for VLOOKUP. So the same problem, let's now do it with index match and see if truly we have solved that problem that Mr. Ifeoluwa was highlighting earlier. Shall we? Okay. So now I'm going to write index match. Please pay attention. So index. So my array now is going to be, now someone was talking about naming our range. So because if I'm to be doing this all the time, if I'm going to be using this range all the time, it's better to just name it at once, right? I'm sure we all know what we mean by naming range. We talked about it. Should I do it? Should I not? Should I do it? Should I not? Should I do it? Should I do the name range or not? Should I do it or not? Anybody
do
want
it, please?
Okay. I know some of us forgot already. I can sense that. Okay. So name range. We talk about name range and name cell. So that helps us to like name our range or our cell. So I'm going to select, let's assume we want to select from where we select from here now. Everything here. Let's select to the end. So I'm going to select it to this point, all right? So this is like one range. So we can come over here, this place. This is our name box. So I can name this range. I can name it results. Okay. So I click on enter. So it's already named. So whenever I need that range, instead of having to manually come over all the time and select it, because it's a very wide one, I can just reference that name. Okay. So let's see how that works. So in my GPA formula now, let me write GPA here. And let me do it here, GPA, and then I'll write index match. So we know that this one was calculated using index match. What did I do? Oh, sorry. Okay, so I can increase this. So now let's go. So I'm going to do index. Okay, so my array now is results. So I can just type results. So you can see Excel already brings it out for me because I already named that that range. You get the idea now of named range. So instead of me to select it, so it's already here. So I can just click on it. Results. Results, sorry. Why is it not selecting? Results. And then use tab. Tab is not, it's working now. So result, so we selected that range. So instead of going to select it like that, so Now we need the row number. So let's do the manual one, the other one. So if you remember, the row number for James is going to be 1, 2, right? So 2 is the row number for James. And then column number, remember GPA is 32, right? So if you do 32, you still have the same result, as you can see, right? So even with index match, we can still be very, with index function, you can still be manual. You can still be like doing it the old way. So let's now solve the issue of having to, because now it's because someone counted already that the GPA is 32. That's why we know. So let's see how match can help us with these two guys that are rigid. So for the row number, let's start with the match. So I'm going to do, okay, let me do it separately so as not to confuse anybody. So let's look for, let me go to the results tab first, and then let's look for the position that James occupies here using match function. So you're going to have match, and then I'm looking up the value James, right? And then my lookup array is this guy. I could actually name this guy too also. So I will leave you to do that. You already know how to name the range now. So I will leave you to do that. So I could name it. So, because I think we've been using it a lot. So that's my range. And then the match type is 0. And then I get 1. What did I select? Okay, because I started my selection from here, right? So if I actually move my selection to this point, oops, sorry, the red one now. So I have to make it 8-2. So now I will get 2 because I'm starting my selection from here. So I can just use this formula now, right? Are you getting? And replace it in my GPA, okay? Or you can use the reference here. No, this one will be a bad idea. It has to be in this side. So let me copy what I have here, this formula now. But it will not make sense because we need the reference for this cell. You know, if I copy this formula to the other side now, it will be taking the A2 in that sheet. So, and I don't want that because it has to reference this sheet. So let me go and write it from here. So instead of having to, I can write my match and then lookup value. I'm looking up this value. Where am I looking up this value? I'm looking it up in this array now. So assuming we've created a name for this now, we would have used that name instead. So, but I hope you guys will try to do that on your own. So that's my array that I've selected, and the match type is 0, and then I can close the bracket, right? Then I click on enter. So you'll see that the result is still the same, right? So the result is still very much the same. So this match now is already automatically finding the position of James, right? So if I drag this down now, I will get something is wrong. So let's see what's wrong now. Something is wrong in my formula. A2. This is also 8. Okay, let's just finish this one before we come to debugging that. So for this same 32 also, I need to solve for this same 32 using match function, right? So instead of writing 32, I can have my match function. And then now my lookup value is, what am I looking up for? Let's check the name. We have to check the name now. So the name, what we are looking for is what? GPA, right? Looking for. So you can either reference it. You could name this cell too again. I mean, using the name range now, you could name just this cell. So let me name this cell. Just let me name this cell because I don't want to like copy. It's too long. So let me call it GPA. Okay, and I press enter. So when I come to this formula now, I come here. Instead of, I can do match, open bracket, close it. One more bracket. So my lookup value is, what am I looking for? GPA, right? Do you remember? So you can see we have the GPA here. And then my lookup array. So again, I think there's something we need to name again, or probably we'll just select it time. So my lookup array, I'm looking for it in this place. This is where I'm looking for GPA, right? This place, right? Class, right? This is where I'm looking for GPA. And then 0. Please stay muted. Please stay muted. I'm feeling like we're already saturated already. I'm having that feeling right now, but don't worry. Once you practice it, you'll master it, I can assure you. So once you do that, you can see now that it's still giving us the same result. So match, you look for GPA. To make these things easier for you, you know some of the things you need to do now. Now you are seeing the importance of this name range. When we thought about it, when we taught it in the class, you were like, probably, why do we, but now you can see the advantage. Because if this is like something you do a lot of times, it would be nice to, those ranges that you are selecting a lot of time, it would be nice to have them stored somewhere, and then you can just easily reach out to them, okay? So it would be nice if all of these guys here, you can create a named range for them and use those named range instead. So while this formula is working, let's try to drag it down. And then I think we are having NA. So let's investigate what the issue is. So here is giving us NA. We are matching A3. So it's looking for this value. Okay, so you can see this guy is moving down, right? The same issue we had earlier. So let me just name this. Let me just name this guy so that we can also use, let me just know that I've done all the name range, but I hope you guys practice this again. Okay, so I'm going to select this guy now and name it students. Okay, so now when I go back to my GPA, and then in my formula, instead of selecting A2 to A8, I can use student, right? Also here, instead of selecting, okay, this one is fine. So I will leave this one like this because it's in this direction. And then I click on enter. So when I drag this down now, I expect us to, oh, we still have error. So let's check what's going on now. So this is like result is not supposed to change. March, we are looking for GPA and what's going on? What's the issue? Somebody talk. We are looking for this value in students. Because any means he cannot find it. So let me check comment. Is anybody commenting? All of you have left me. You have left me alone now at this point.
No, I've not left you actually. Where are we do that?
Hi, Idris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I'm not sure, but I think the issue is when you, for this particular, like index and match, you know, when you name your range, you kind of lock it and it's almost immovable. So I think there's a problem when it's not being able to move when you are using the index and match. I did that and I had to name as well. Just select the for the first element in index.
I was speaking what you were saying because there's some noise, but you were talking about the named range being an issue.
Yes,
well,
it probably is, because that's what happened when I tried it too a couple of months before you did. But then also looking at your second match where you are trying to do the
what?
Your second match for
yeah.
GP.
Yeah, this one.
Yes. Isn't supposed to be AF3 to is that right? Is it A3 to AG3?
Yeah, it's supposed to. Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be A3 to. Oh, something changed here. Oh, truly. This guy changed A3. Why is he A3? Ah, okay, I get it now. So this guy is also changing. So that's you can see another issue with the same thing. Okay, so let me
log the second match.
Yeah, this guy is changing because now, when we select, thank you for your comment. Thank you. Please tell me that because I think there's some kind of noise from your background. Yeah. So guys, this is what's happening. You know, when we selected this guy earlier, this is A2 to AG2, right? So when we drag down, this guy is moving down also. And it shouldn't, because this should be constant, right? So there are two ways to it. Either you log it using the dollar sign, or you also create a named range for it. Do you understand? So, I mean, you guys should know this better now. Please practice this. You can see we are learning a lot from and we are applying a lot of things that we've done. This locking and not locking. So I will just lock it because I don't want to waste time. Okay, since I've been doing name range all this while, so let me name it also. So let me name it, I will name it reference. Let me just say reference columns. Okay. So that's the name I'm going to give that range. So let me go back to my formula now. And then I'm going to change these results. Please, let's stay muted. There's a noise coming. So let's change this guy now, this result, because you can see it's changing. It has changed from A2 here. It changed here to A3. So you can see it's moving down. It's moving down. Here it changed to A4. Can you see? So we need to lock it or use the named range. So I'm going to remove this guy here, and then I'm going to use that reference column that we just named, this guy. Okay, and then I click on enter. So once I drag this down, I expect it to work now. So yeah, so that's the issue. So the our first comment was about the name column, the name range being an issue. That can never be an issue. Once you name a range, it's like locking it also. So it even solves the problem, rather not an issue. So the issue that we had there was this guy that was moving. So that's yeah, when you use name range, you don't have to lock again. So because you've already named it, so there's no need to lock. Please, if you can watch that where we discuss that what's it called? The referencing again, in case you are still not, you can see how referencing is important in everything we are doing. Please, if you still don't understand the concept of locking and unlocking and doing these things, please ensure to go and watch that. I think that was class 2, right? Day 2. Please ensure to go and watch it again and master it. You cannot escape it as far as Excel is concerned, I can assure you. So you need to, you can see how things are really moving very fast. So that's pretty much it. So I don't think I want to show you. Okay, maybe I can just show you, but you don't need to if you want to lose focus, because I know we're already saturated at this point. I can sense it already, because what we did today is, I know it's a lot. So, but again, index match is your go-to guy. When you need to reference, when you need to get a value, you use them together, index match versus VLOOKUP. So please don't forget, these are interview tips that I'm already giving you. If you are preparing for an interview now that is related to Excel, you can be like 98% sure that these are the questions they will ask you. You know, index match, VLOOKUP, they will ask you what's the difference, which one is better, and so on and so forth. So another things that we've learned. I told you from the beginning of this camp that everything we'll be learning is not the thing that you would probably not use in a while. And I think so far so good, you can testify to it, because it's almost like everything that we started with, we are still making, like we are just building up on everything that we've learned. You know, so please, if there's any concept you did not understand, don't think that we will not go back there again, because we'll still come back to it. So the curriculum was designed to make sure that it's things that you'll be doing all the time. There are other things you need to know, but probably these things you might just be needing them once in a while. So there's no point in really talking about them when we can still master things that you will be doing often. You get the idea. So please ensure to practice on this index match. This we'll be using it for you will be using it for your mini project. Yeah, I think I will bring some questions on it for your mini project so that I can be sure that you guys have mastered it. And then we would also do tomorrow we'll talk more. Tomorrow and next we'll talk more on the interesting parts of your project for this week. So yeah, so that's pretty much all about functions. Those are the functions that we'll be doing. When we are doing our project, the portfolio project, or even when I'm teaching you, when we are meeting on Wednesday, there might be need to introduce some other functions, right? You know, I told you this from beginning, right? Not all functions we can treat. So it's based on your requirement that you begin to now use the internet to find what function can help me to do this. So when you see me name a new function, it's not like, this guy did not teach us this. No. Even me, I probably did not know it. I have to go and look it up in Google. So that's how it is. But this whole thing so far helps you to gives you that basics, that foundations to know that, okay, these are this and this that can happen in your Excel. Okay, so let's take another 5 minutes break, and then when we return, we would take a quick look at chart. I expect that tomorrow we'll go deeper on it, but I just want us to walk through it, and probably if you have time to practice before tomorrow, it would be nice to do some practices. So let's take 5 minutes. When we return, we'll spend another maybe 10, 15 minutes on this, and then we'll go. So see you in 5 minutes. Thank you. If you have any...
Idris, can I see the last index amount that you did? Yeah, the formula again.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in a bit, please?
All right. You want to see the formula, right? So you can.
Yes. Okay. Was it what
Sorry, please. We are already on break. Or if you want to go for break, relax, please. We're already on break. Thank you. All right, please go ahead.
Which cell range did you name results?
That's everything. Everything.
The entire sheet.
Yeah, no, not the entire sheet. The entire result, like from here, this guy. Everything, like all the array from here to the end.
To the end.
Yeah. Not all the, yeah, everything here like this.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So any other person with question?
Sorry, okay, let me see.
Okay, please go ahead, yeah.
It is. And you named your GPA colon reference colon, Abby?
Yes, I named it GPA. That cell. It's a cell, right?
Sorry, let me see again.
Okay, sure. Just need to. So this one, this is what I named GPA. This cell. This one. Because we need to reference it in our reference colon array, right?
Okay, yes. Then what did you name reference colon? Or where did you get
reference colon are these guys, all these column name, column headers, table headers, all these guys here. Because that's where we are going to find our GPA, right?
Yes.
So I named them. It's just like when we were doing index match, when we did this, right? And you need 2021 here. So 2021 here is like that GPA now. And then the reference column is like all of these guys. You get it?
Yeah.
And of course, it's because I need GPA. If I needed, maybe, let's assume I needed graduate now. You understand? So now I can also name this one graduate, and maybe you can try that on your own. So we'll start the session with that so that people can practice something.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, I want to ask for a favor. Like, is it possible for you to help us add like a short class on best practices for Excel, like when working in Excel? Because I noticed that it seems if we have been consistent with naming the ranges, then we would have not encountered some of the issues we encountered today. So probably if you can just, help us put together like some of the best practices, like how to be consistently, the things we have to, like, I know there are like many ways we can do a particular thing, so to say, if we want to achieve the task in Excel. So if there will be a short session, probably when we're rounding up Excel, so that we will be consistently, doing the right thing and not, I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. To be honest, I wish I could do something like that, but I'm not sure my time gives me such opportunity. But let's stay muted. There's some noise coming out, please. But yeah, I would definitely probably work with the mentors on that. I will speak with some of the mentors, or if I find some resources that I think. Actually, Excel is not a tool I use day to day at work. I mean, I use it, quick queries. So I might not be the wrong guy to give day to day like tips on Excel, as a tool about some things. But yeah, it's a good point you raised. However, I strongly believe that the more you work on things, you will discover these things yourself. That's just what I believe. Because if you find something that lists everything out for you, you might not even understand them when you are. It's when you begin to use them, like really when you use things, that's when they become a part of you. So as much as that is good, I would work on it, like I said, I still believe that the more you work on projects, if you didn't do that long GPA, you wouldn't have understood the importance of index match. If I just taught you index match, you would just know that, okay, you've heard of index match. But if you didn't do that long GPA, when you had to stressfully count the number of columns, you would not have known the importance. So this is what practice does. So practice will really open you up to a lot of things. You will see new things, you see it differently, and then it helps you to really keep it. So that's just the whole thing. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
But I'll work on it, yeah, sure. So Mr. Emmanuel's hands is up. We have, time is already going. We have like, should we take the chat today? I think some people are already leaving. So I guess, okay, we'll continue. Let's just take the chat tomorrow. Okay, I can read through, I can see that. That's a lot today. Okay, so we'll not do the chat. Okay, let's just do let's take questions and then we'll close for today. All right, Mr. Uchino. Mr. Uchino, go ahead, please. Mr. Uchino, are you there? Okay. Someone else was raising his or her hand earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, I was the one, but you have attended to that.
Okay, yeah. There's someone else apart from Mr. Uchino. Oh, I don't know. Sorry. Okay, so anyone else with question? Anyone?
Hello. I think you should just, if I don't know, I think you should go ahead with the chat. Maybe just a little introduction of the chat.
How many people agree with that? If I see like 3 or 4, okay, then I will do that. If not, I will just close.
If you can spend like 10 minutes on it, it's okay, it's fine.
Okay, I have just one agreed to. Just 2 people. Okay, 3. Okay, 4. All right, so let's just take a look then. All right. So charts is one of the most, okay, I know I've been saying one of the most important a lot. You'll be wondering that is everything that important? Don't worry. It's like you get used to these things. So chart is actually like I'm looking for the right word to use. This is the most important of your whole analytics process. So not really about the interview now. So, and let me explain why. Whatever you do with the chart, what the business will see, right? Are what the stakeholders will see. Are what will help make this, is what they will see to make decisions. Things like reports, you talk of things like dashboard. If you make mistake, that's where they will see it more from their own end. So it's really an important what's it called, section of analytics, right? So you talk of data visualization, basically. I'm sure many of us have heard of this before. And there are several sides to it, right? So probably when we do our project, we'll do a lot more talking on that. But one thing I want to mention is this, before I get started. I don't know if someone has an interview tomorrow. You don't use any kind of chart or any kind of data. So every chart that you know of, they have the type of data that you use them for. That's a common mistake in the analytics world and a common mistake for beginners, right? So sometimes when I see some dashboards that they post on LinkedIn and all of that, I just like smile. You can easily tell that this one is like a newbie because it's using the chart the wrong way or it's not really formatting it the right way. Okay. So that's why I said this is very important because nobody sees when you are doing all these functions. If I'm a business stakeholder, I don't need your functions. All I want to see is the result, and that's where the chart's really coming. Okay, so this is very important, like I said, and this is the part that people will see. Okay, so when we will be submitting our projects, this is the part that we'll submit, and because of course, I strongly believe majority of people here really want to upgrade with their jobs and probably seek new roles. And one of the things we talked about that we'll be doing in this camp is to interview prep and all of these things. So using your social media to reach out to people, and one of those is using chart visualizations that you create to catch the attention of hiring managers and all of that. So this is a part that you don't want to really like play with. So, but there is a proper visualization tool which we'll be working on. So there will not be a lot of story here. So when we get to Power BI, then that's where we'll like really engage on this. In the past, Excel Excel was used for visualization as well. But as everything evolved, we have tools like Power BI. I'm sure you've heard about it. We'll be learning it in this camp. Tableau. These ones really make visualization easier and much better. Okay. So, but it's good you also know in Excel, because if your team is not using Power BI, for instance, you still must know how to do some of those things here. And or for simple reports. Sometimes I still use Excel for visualizations, like the one I showed you for the pre. I don't know how many of us saw the pre-boot camp session that we had. I showed a visualization of how the way we liked the courses we want to learn and all of that. You remember, right? So I made that with Excel. I couldn't have taken that to Power BI, right? It's not really making sense because it's just a little data and then so. You still find the use case for Excel for visualization very important, and it's still very much handy in the world today. So let's take a look very quickly in 5-7 minutes. So I created some sample data here just for us to see how we can create a visualization or a chart. So to bring in a new chart, all you need to go is go to Insert, okay? So when you come to Insert, the first thing you will see here is recommended chart. So this is very useful, especially when you don't know the kind of chart to use. So Excel with this IntelliSense is able to look at the data and then generate a visualization that can fit that. Sometimes it's not correct, or maybe it's not really the best. But when you get to that level, you will be able to say, oh, I don't think this one is the right one. I think there's a much better one. So let's start with this one, recommended chart. So if I just click anywhere on this data now, this is like a table, or you could highlight everything, anything you want. Excel is able to detect whether you click just one cell or highlight, and then click on recommended chart. So when I click on recommended chart, you can see that Excel is smart enough to recommend 3 charts for me. So this is one, you can see how it looks like. So you can see this is male, this is 104, you can see indeed male and female. And this is another one. This is a pie chart, right? You know this, many of us know this. And then this is a bar chart, okay? So you can see. So you can now decide to use either of them. Personally, when I want to make this it's called comparison, right? This is more like a, not comparison, composition. So I know, due to my experience, that preferably a pie chart is good for this kind of thing, right? So I'll be selecting a pie chart. Okay, you could also use this, no problem. But preferably best practice now. This guy is for composition, right? So you're trying to see how different things make up because it's like a class, and then you have like male and female. So you want to know how the composition is of that class. So I select this, and then you can see Excel automatically generates this for me, right? And then you can like resize and resize. So, and so you can do a lot of formatting. If you have been working with Microsoft Word, for instance, you know that Microsoft Word has formatting options. So here we'll be doing all of this tomorrow. So you can see, you can change the color of the shape, you can change the background, do a lot of things. You can add legends or data labels. So data labels are like the numbers. So it's showing that this one is 104, this one is this. So very simple stuff. So let me keep it that simple. Oh, let me increase it a bit. So also for this one, so this is like month revenue. So you have like revenue for different months, right? So I want to do the same thing. Click on this place, insert recommended chart. So I know because this is a, they call it time series data. So this is like you are looking at time, you're looking at months, right? So preferably when you are looking at time series data, you want to look at, you are talking about a distribution about across time. So you want to either use a line chart or an area chart. Okay, so don't ask me how I know it's about, like, it's a bit more on the high side, but I'm just the emphasis here is just to show you how you can create charts, not really about knowing the type of chart. Okay, so if you still make mistake at this level, no problem, trust me, you're good. So I will be using this one, or you could also use this, it's also good, but I want to use this one. And then I click on OK. So you can see now that this visualization, it helps me understand what is going on here. Now, one thing I want you to know is that visualizations is not just for fancy. Okay. The essence of visualization or chart is to communicate what is in the data. Now, if you are looking at this data like this, it will take you some time to comprehend what is going on, right? Because looking at it, you might know you have to still think a lot. But when you look at this visualization, this chart, just within 3-4 seconds, there are some things that I can tell immediately. So you can see that for some reason, the revenue we generated in the summer seemed to be really high. Because this is around like from May, you can see like for May, our revenue began to increase until August. So I can easily tell that if this is a product, if it is a company, this particular product is loved during the summer. These are how chart helps. So it means that if your chart cannot really communicate things fast, it is rubbish. So if people still have to struggle to understand your chart, then there's a problem with that chart. So a chart should be able to really give information faster than looking at the data itself. And that's why you are hired as an analyst. So you look into the data, you dive deep into the data, you find some things, and you try to present those things using visualizations. So that's what chart is all about. So we'll be doing more on that tomorrow. We'll be looking at pivot table tomorrow. I know some of us have heard of pivot table. That's also another important thing you need to know, even though, like I said, things have really evolved from Excel actually to other tools, but then you still need to know these things for interview sake, for random things, and so you still need to know them. So we'll be looking at pivot table tomorrow, and also we'll continue on chat. So that's where I'm going to stop today. That's just like to tease you for tomorrow. So very quickly, in 4 minutes, let's take 2 questions. So Mr. Olayon, please go ahead. Mr. Olayon.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, mine is a general question. From the project this weekend, I noticed that this Excel thing or this data analyst thing, it involves a lot of formulas. So what's the trick behind remembering each formula to use for which, so that I won't be mixing it up?
Okay.
Like, is there a trick for me to know the formula to use part time?
Yes.
That's what that thing really affected me. I have to be going back to YouTube to be checking the previous classes before I know what to apply.
There's a trick. The trick is practice. 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 So the more you practice, the more you won't have to check YouTube again. You will, the more you practice. See, let me tell you, the whole thing is, I wouldn't say repetition, but more often than not, you are like doing the same thing over and over again. You would just those formulas will just come. So in a case where you don't remember, I mean, there's one you don't even know at all, you will just go online and you read. But practice is the cheat code. I would not lie to you.
Okay,
practice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Mr. Are, yeah, right.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the class. I just wanted to request if you could kindly share your solution sheets for the first project.
For the first project?
Yes, the solution sheets you have on your end. If you can kindly share it on the Discord platform.
For the mini project, right?
Yes.
Okay. Please check YouTube. It's on the YouTube. This thing I added it in the description. But if you want, I can add it on Discord. I can share it on Discord.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So let's take one more question. I saw someone's hand up now. Who's that? Mr. James, finally, let James talk. Allow James to talk all through this. Very quickly, please. We have 2 more minutes.
Okay, so I am not asking a question anyway. I just wanted to I heard the young lady's question where she was saying a trick to remembering the formula. So I don't know. For me, I don't know if there's a trick, but what I would advise is try and understand what you need to do, because if you know, okay, you're like in the like what we were doing on Saturday, really the first one where you had to use the if function, and then the question was saying, okay, they gave you certain conditions. So you just need to understand that, okay, we're working with conditions. What exactly is it? What conditional functions do we have in Excel? And then through that, you can like use that the knowledge of the idea via your brainstorming. You could say, okay, and then researching, yeah, also that, okay, what conditional functions do we have in Excel? And then discover what we have. If I think there's also switch, yeah, like, but also not like complex anyway. So and then you through that you can like discover, okay, this is the function I should use or something. I am not entirely sure. I did not hear that. I did not get that when you were saying it, because like my network, when Mr. Idris was answering your question, because my network slipped. Yeah. So, but that is what I would advise. Understand the question, and then know, try and via your understanding of the question, you will know what you should do or what you should use to answer it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that addition. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And again, it still traces back to practice. So it's when you practice things and then you like, I've done this before. So it becomes like really something that it becomes part of you, literally. So practice is still the whole summary of the answer. Practice must. Don't worry, once we do a couple of projects, I'll be sending data sets to you guys to do work on, and and then I think some of us will be learning new stuff that way at a faster rate. You learn faster when you practice than when you are just in a class like this. That's just the truth. Okay, so it's over for today. If you have any other question, please ask on the Discord group. I believe everyone is on the class group. And yeah, meet tomorrow again. See you and have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.